Hey, welcome back to the channel and to Speaking Saturdays. And here we have a brand new test. So let's not waste any time. Let's get started. Do you like singing and why? Well, I mean, yeah, in general, I do it. Well, I used to do a lot more of that when I was younger. We'd have songs playing on the stereo and I just sing along. That's kind of how I learned, I would say. But it's fun. Of course, I've never had any kind of professional training, not even in school. So, but I have been told, like, let's say this one time I was trying out for the school choir, and obviously, in a choir, you have a lot of people, right? And as you probably guessed, I tend to have a voice that's a little bit more thinner, more lighter, kind of high pitched. And so, but not like strong. I don't have projection like opera singers do. So the teacher, he was like, you have a good voice, but it's more suited to solo singing and not really in a choir because it just gets lost in the choir. So yeah, that was really good advice. Have you ever learned how to sing? No, not really. No, I mean, I would like to. I would like to. It sounds fun, but I mean, there's a lot of things that I find fun. So, I have too many hobbies, really, to be honest. But I think if I had had lessons as a child, I think it would have been better because again, if you really want to make use of your craft, if as a musician, especially as a sports person, etc., you have to start young. You have to start when you're a child, or a teenager at least, and that's really when you can I mean, if you want to pursue that as a career. But yeah, I mean, nothing's stopping me. I could go, and my mom keeps saying you should try to get some singing lessons, it would be fun. And I think it would be. I don't think I can commit to it right now. Because again, of course, if you start something, you have to do it well. At least that's what I think. Who do you want to sing for? No one but myself. I mean, I'm not a I mean, yeah, if I was in a band or something, I think that would be fun. I mean, when I was a teenager, I think that was one of the things that I wanted to do. Of course, it wasn't very realistic, because again, the scene here just wasn't that developed when I was a child or teenager. But I don't sing for anyone. That's not something that, I mean, I have hobbies that I'm really good at, like writing, for example, and that is something I could still do like competitively, professionally even. But I'm singing again, it's one of those things like, especially, with age, for example. If you start singing as a professional, usually in your early years, in your 20s and so on, you get like, smaller roles and stuff like that, specifically talking about opera. And I'm getting a little nerdy here, but bear with me. So as you grow older, your voice starts to really mature, and it hits its full peak. But as you cross 30, 40, and so on, now it's different for men, of course, but specifically for women, because your voice changes, the type of songs you can sing change. You'll probably see that with your own favorite singers and stuff. So I mean, yeah, I don't think that's something I want to do for anyone, just for the fun of it, just for the absolute joy that you get. Do you think singing can bring happiness to people? Yeah, of course it can. Listening to other people sing, or even just singing for yourself, people do that all the time, no, don't they? I mean, when someone's happy, they might, sing a little tune, or maybe people like make up little songs, and what's funny? I just realized that I do that all the time. Like I might just you know, let's say I saw a cat or something, and I might like make up a little song with two, three words, and not really a song, but a little tune, a little ditty, let's say, and I'll just sing that to myself because it's just so funny and cute and reminds me of something. So, yeah, I think most people do. I mean, I don't know if most people do that, but most people will sing something like when they're feeling particularly happy or so on. So naturally, any kind of music, in fact, it has a very close association with human emotions. Okay, let's see part two. Describe a public facility that has been renovated and improved. You should say what the facility is, when it was renovated and improved, what has been renovated and improved, and explain how you feel about it. Oh, great. This is perfect because the place where I live right now, the apartment complex, we moved here in I think September 2004, maybe 5, I don't remember. But at that time, we're quite lucky actually, because again, I live in a city that's heavily overpopulated and there's just like ugh, you don't get good views here, from apartments, but we got really lucky. So from the living room and the one of the bedrooms, from the balcony, we can see this huge expanse. Right now it's a park, but it used to just be this empty land with some grass, just completely empty land. And it was kind of creepy because again there was like we had no idea like whose land is this. And the ones like I saw, like, I don't know, policemen, like when I was a child, and mom was saying, oh my god, they found a dead body. I think she was trying to scare me. But anyway, that was like 20 years ago. So they, over time, I think maybe like, I don't know when that started because the process was so slow, but the local government, they decided to turn this whole, and it's a huge, it used to be a huge empty swath of space. So the government decided, the local municipal government, they decided to turn it into a park. And so I'd see, like workers digging stuff and planting trees and stuff, and making like places to sit and all that, and really beautifying the place. And my god, you wouldn't believe it if I showed you pictures from 20 or 15 years ago and right now, you wouldn't believe it's the same place. Because I just went there recently because it's so odd, but I never really went there. And I was just like, well, what do I have to go there for? I can see it from here. But it's actually much bigger than what I thought. So I went there last month and I was like amazed because the place is just so beautiful. They have, little sections with different kinds of flowers, and they're all like, they really take care of this place. It's super squeaky clean. The benches, they've got little domes where you could sit there, if it's raining, for example. People come there in the mornings to exercise. They even have a little outdoor gym type thing. Can you believe that? And I also have two very cute dogs in there, stray dogs, of course, but everybody loves them. So they've really done wonders with this place. It's so impeccably well maintained. It's always lush, and it's a great. You just go there and you feel like, this is so good. I mean, there's beauty all around you, all these different shades of green, all these flowers, these beautiful walking paths that they've made. And it's not like a straight path. It's not like a huge green expanse. No, I'm surprised, because usually parks are kind of boring, but this one is real, and we are so lucky that it's like 5 minutes away from where I live. Crazy to think about. But yeah, I think they finished just a few years ago. I think they finished in 2018 because they made most of it, but there was still one section which was kind of, not developed, but then they, planted some trees there, and now it's perfect. So they just actually recently finished the whole thing, but most of it was already done by 2017 or 18 or something. So yeah, I feel like I'm really lucky because again, I mean, now that there's a park here, there's no way that any building or shopping mall or something will come up. So we get this amazing view, and I mean, yeah, that's a rare sight, in this city. Okay, let's go on to part three. What are the benefits of public facilities? Well, you need to have, like, obviously, if you're going to take money from people, as the government, you take taxes, right? So you have to be doing something, don't you? We need to all have, for example, you need to have places where you can park your car. If you go outside, it shouldn't be that you have to pay through the nose just to park. Or, I mean, let's take trains, for example, such an important thing, and yet there's so many major cities around the world that just have a very barely functioning public. You know what? I don't even consider, like, if a city doesn't have a metro system or a train system, whatever, connecting, all parts, I refuse to even consider that a city, because how the whole point of a city is I really should not need to, have a car, bike, etc. I should be able to get around with just public transport, and public transport is just one aspect. Obviously, it makes people's lives easier. That's the whole point. It doesn't matter if you construct a new station, if you have more buses, if you offer free, drinking water spots, if you have, like, shades installed, or if it's a park, garden, etc. The point is to maximize the people's pleasure, or just satisfaction in general. Because what am I giving you all this money for, right? So yeah, I mean, and if a country, government, local government, whatever, if they fail to provide such facilities, they don't deserve to, stay in power. Why are some public transport methods popular, such as the subway? So, now, of course, you have like buses and trams and trains and all this kind of stuff, but the subway especially, it's super quick. You get from point A to B, because again, when you think of it, the bus has to take the streets, right? And there's traffic on the streets, and streets are like, oh, you go left and you go straight, then you take a right turn, then you go here and there and here and there. But a subway line, train line, metro system, it's a direct line from point A to point B. So it's really very no nonsense. And again, most subway lines, they tend to be, weather controlled. So not too hot, not too cold. So again, it adds to people's comfort. And like I said, you get to point from point A to B much, much quicker than you would with a bus or even with your own vehicle at times. Most of the times, at least in my city. So naturally, they're probably, because again, you can transport so many people so quickly, without much of, like let's say, of course, you can say, oh, well, buses also transport a lot of people. Buses are, they're uncomfortable. They're old, rickety. They're never on time. Subways, most of the time, they really, really stick to their schedule. But a bus, the last time I waited for a bus, that's again only because I was like, okay, well, I have two options. I can take the cab or I can take a bus. And my map is showing me, oh, I could just take the bus. And it was a good bus too. It was like air conditioned and everything. So I was like, why not check? Why not just see if I can get a bus? That's great because I don't have to guide the driver, go here and there and whatever. So I waited for 25 minutes and the bus never came. And I got made a fool out of. So yeah, I'm never looking at Google Maps suggestions for buses, but you can see, I didn't really have much of a choice because I didn't have that much time. So I took the metro and it was super quick, no hassle whatsoever. So that's kind of a no-brainer. Why are some public transport methods so unpopular? The first example that comes to my mind is, the bus, because it's like slow, it's rickety. Even if they're weather controlled, the thing is that they're like, sometimes you have to wait. Not actually, let me correct myself, not sometimes, most of the time. You have to wait a ridiculously long amount of time for the bus to come. And it's just like, why would I choose? I would rather walk. I would rather walk than take the bus. I would prefer to just take a cab. But if I didn't have that option, then I would prefer to walk because again, there's like so many people in a bus. It's so uncomfortable. And, half the time the windows don't work. And it's just not a very good experience. And of course, it's like, yeah, people will say, oh, but it's super cheap. Yeah, sure, it's super cheap. But what's the point if I reach home in 1 hour instead of 20 minutes? To me, anyway, and to a lot of people, their time is worth a lot more than money. So that's probably why I feel like buses are kind of falling out of favor, but not entirely because of course you have trains, yes, but then there's, last mile connectivity, which of course a train is not going to drop you to the shopping mall or your home. So you need some kind of, either you walk or you take a cab or you take, the tram or bus or something like that. What kind of public transport what kind of transport do young people and old people prefer? I don't think that this has anything to do with age. Actually, I'd say it has more to do with your socioeconomic standing, right? Because let's say if you can afford cabs, that's a no-brainer most of the time, unless, it's a very complicated route or if there's a lot of traffic, then most people prefer to just take the metro. But I don't think there's any different because again, you might, for example, driving. Okay, well, a lot of older people don't really like to drive because again, they, naturally don't feel so confident. Again, your vision kind of degrades over time, even your dexterity, right? Your ability to hold the wheel and all of that. And of course, that's just normal. That's completely normal with age. When you're, 70, 80, of course, you cannot drive as well as a, 30-year-old, right? So they might prefer to instead not drive by themselves and instead, take the bus. Or, also often with old age, a lot of old age poverty is associated with increased ages. So that can also be another reason why they prefer public transport. A lot of young people that I know are actually very environmentally conscious, and they don't like the idea of having their car. They prefer to take the train, the metro, etc. So I guess there are some, differences, but overall, I don't think that's something that really contributes to your choice. I don't think age is what determines what kind of transport you take. Rather, it's, what kind of place do you live in, how much money do you have at your disposal, right? Because somebody who has the money will probably just prefer to take an Uber or something like that. But someone who doesn't, someone who's on a fixed income, maybe they might prefer to take, the bus or tram, train, something of that sort. And that was our test for today. So don't forget to tune back in. We have a lot of videos coming up. Not just that, we have a lot of past videos as well. So you might want to check those out. Until then, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.